Welcome to Talk Theory. It's your host, Kiara Barnes, where I talk all things life, what makes us human, and what makes us superhuman. Sit back, relax, and join me for a chat. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Talk Theory. Before we get into it today, folks, I just want to say thank you. I know I said I was going to update you guys as I went along, but everything kind of just happened. But I finally dropped my album Home on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your music, you can get it there. But yeah, I did it and it's out. And I've been getting so much love and so many nice comments. And it's just really, really kind of you guys. And it feels amazing. You know, it's like always really nerve-wracking to put something out that you've spent a lot of time on and a lot of attention on and just like give it to the world. But I am so glad I did. I've never made an album before. This is my very first album. I usually make EPs because they're less intimidating to me. And yeah, I learned a lot through this process of making an album and just everything that I put into it. And so, yeah, I'm so happy that it's finally out. I feel really good about it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. I've been working on that project for like almost a year, so it's crazy that it's finally just like available. And I'm already, of course, because I can't help myself, working on new music. Yeah, it just felt so good. I haven't recorded anything in so long. Like I've been doing more singing like on television shows that I've been on. But to like make something for me, of me, felt really, really good. So yeah, thanks for showing up. Thanks for supporting. And thanks for listening to it and sharing. It really means more than you know. So, took us a minute to get there, but here we are. By the way, yeah, if you haven't listened to it, go ahead, check it out. It's got more of like a neo soul kind of vibe. I got an acoustic. I'm usually an acoustic only kind of thing, guitar. Usually that's what I usually put out, but I feel like I said usually 30 times. It's okay. But yeah, this time I really got into some neo soul, into beats and things like that. And so that was really fun. I do have a guitar track on there. I write all of my own music. So, yeah, it's really fun. Give it a listen. It's a vibe. Okay. All right. So let's get into today's topic, folks. I have to take a deep breath for this. Okay. We're getting into the whirlwind of situationships. These kinds of connections that sit somewhere between dating and kind of a committed relationship, like in between, heavy on the in between. And don't get me wrong, they can be both super fun and beautiful, but also very stressful, very confusing. So I just want to talk about what this is, like what it's all about, and how we can maintain a healthy dating life. So to kick things off, we need to kind of understand what we're dealing with, right? Like, what exactly is a situationship? To me, a situationship is basically you're dating someone without the title of being in an exclusive relationship. Both parties really like one another. You meet often, you go on dates often, you might even meet family members and close friends, but you are not in a like public committed relationship. Or it could be public, but like there's just no title on it. So this is, by the way, no hate. Okay. It works for some folks, but this is just what it is. I'm just giving you the facts. It's a lack of communication, really low expectations, inconsistency, pretty limited future planning, or if there ever is, it's quite rare to have it seen through. Uncertainty, and overall temporary. Now, all of these things sound not so great, right? Like, why would one even want to engage in a relationship style like this? Here's the thing. I think there's a few things to this. One, I think it's a very interesting time that we live in, right? Like, I was watching a movie the other day called How to Marry a Millionaire. Marilyn Monroe's in it. It's great. Very cute, very silly. A movie in 1953. And something I noticed when I was watching, I was like, dang, how, like, these women are getting into these relationships with these guys so fast, like getting courted so fast. And then, like, you meet your person within a week and then boom, you're getting married. And I know it's like a movie, so there's a bit more to be dramatized and whatever. But for the most part, like, 40 to 50 years ago, it was pretty normal to find your person, court them. Not even 40, 50 years. I feel like even 30 something, 20 years ago, it was pretty normal to find your person, court them, and then propose. Obviously, there was a completely different societal situation going on, right? There were wars and expectations for what families should be and look like because of those wars. And now, because of technology, just fast-paced living, acceleration of what even modern life looks like now, that's not really super expected. In fact, folks are waiting later and later to get married, putting career first, which makes sense. Houses are not what they used to be, okay, to buy. Cars are not what they used to be. Groceries, clothes, all of that. And let's not even get into the conversation, which we can do a whole another episode about even having a baby or having your eggs frozen or anything like that, like how much that actually costs. And not even including like medical bills just to birth a baby, y'all. Like, if you're in America, it's wild. So folks are more confused these days more focused. Could be confusion too, but focused these days on becoming like financially stable and sorting themselves out before they can even think about building a family, and I get it. Like, I really do. And so there's just like an overall lack, I think, of care or desire for a lot of folks to fully commit. And because not a lot of people are practicing courting as much, I think there's just a general, I don't know, like distaste for opening up to one another. Maybe that's a strong word, but just it's not, people aren't too keen on it, and not too keen on actually showing affection. And worries that you may be rejected or that the other person will at some point want to exit the relationship entirely. And so the whole situationship thing seems to be the safest option because you've always got like one foot out the door ready to leave at any time. I was on TikTok and I saw this one girl and she was talking about it. And she's like, our generation is so weird. She's like, our generation is the weirdest generation when it comes to dating because you'll go out with someone, have a great time, literally couldn't have been better, both just like staying out for hours, couldn't get enough of one another. And then if you text them like too soon after the date or like the next day to be like, hey, that was fun, like you're kind of looked at like, ooh, like she's doing too much, like, or they're doing too much, like they're giving me way too much energy, like it's clingy, and it's like, when did that change? Like, to show affection to someone that you actually like and they actually like you. Like back in the day, that was not odd. It was like expected that if you went on a good date, you would either get a phone call that night to make sure that you got in safe, or definitely by the morning, afternoon, the next day. And with a plan to set up another date, right? And it wasn't looked at as clingy, but it was looked at as like, yeah, I like you. You like me. What's the deal? Or even checking the temperature of like, hey, I had a really good time. Would you be interested in doing another one? And then if the person's like, it was fun, but I'm quite busy, then you kind of get the picture of like, okay, they weren't feeling it, right? But nowadays it's like a whole thing to even show that you have some kind of, and I never even thought about it, but it's like, yeah, there's like this weird like thing within our generation where it's like, okay, we gotta, oh, excuse me, sorry, that we got to really just, okay. One second. I thought this was on Do Not Disturb. What's going on? Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's just like an odd situation. Sorry. I'm a little distracted now. But anyway, as we continue on, situations often thrive in the gray area, right? Between casual dating and commitment. So it can be really difficult to really manage your expectations, And personally, folks, I'm a relationship girly. I am a clear-cut, what are we? I've tried the situationship thing and it does not work for me at all because personally, I do have to have, personally, I have a set of standards. Point blank. Like, they're not high expectations. They're not like, whoa, like she's high maintenance. They're just the standard of how I live. And also, if you even want access to me, I am not attainable for everyone or anyone or just anyone. I'm not able to be reached by just anyone. And that's something that I decided. I had to decide. You have to be someone I really am interested in and connected with emotionally, physically, and even spiritually to get access to me. Otherwise, it's just not really worth my time or energy. Because for me, when I'm seeing someone, I am seeing them. Like, I am giving you my time and I am doing everything to understand you and be present with you. I'm not interested in feeling stressed and confused about all kinds of different things. If I've given you the opportunity to date me, because it is an opportunity, you are properly courting me. Properly courting me. Not to say that it needs to be like, what are we vibes on date one? But if we've been doing dates on the regular and you've been courting me, hanging out a lot, obviously gearing towards an actual relationship, there is an expectation on my end that there will be a discussion of a label, and that is just me because that's what makes me feel the best within my scope of dating. And of course, this isn't for everyone, but me personally, okay, let's focus on personally. I know that for sure. Like, I don't do well with wishy-washy. It's just not attractive to me. It's not cute. And I also believe effective communication is key to any successful relationship. Especially if you are in a situationship. I've known people to have had situationships for like 4 years or longer with people, and communication is always like the biggest topic of it. And it can be the biggest downfall of a lot of them. And I think it's only natural that when you spend a really good portion of your time talking, texting, dating, hanging out, giving your energy to one person, that you're naturally going to catch feelings. Like that makes sense. And you're going to want to express that at some point. And honestly, you should, because here's the thing. If you're never expressing your feelings, desires, or even your boundaries of what you are comfortable with, it makes a mess of things later on anyway. Okay? So to me, I'm like, just get it over with. You know, if you don't feel so awesome about the person you're seeing a ton of other people or sleeping with like 10 other people a week, you got to vocalize that. You have to talk about it. Because one, how can they know, right? Because they might be like, oh, okay, you know, I'm down with that. I don't mind, and or they might not. And here's the thing, like I know some of you guys are going, okay, Kiara, but if I tell them that, then like that could end the whole thing altogether. And what I say to that, my sweet darling, is good. Good, good, good. I am not trying to be harsh, but no relationship, and I mean no, nada, none, okay, is worth your mental health, your safety, and overall sense of self. If you aren't using your voice in fear of rejection or, you know, a possible argument, baby, this is not the right person for you. Truly, you should always feel safe to speak your mind and have an open dialogue with the person you are dating. That is just bare minimum. And I think if you can have clear-cut boundaries and communicate properly, you can kind of navigate through a situation pretty well. You just have to know what it is, right? And I'm sure for some people, it works great. But for a lot of people, it doesn't, because one or both parties aren't willing to like open up, honestly, and be truthful about their feelings so that they can equally feel comfortable, right? And that's kind of the key. And I will say sometimes situationships can really blur the line, okay, between what's acceptable and what is not. You need to still be maintaining your self-respect. You need to still be loving on yourself. And I know it can be hard. Trust me, I've been in one and I know the feeling. And this is why I can talk with so much assertion and confidence now, because I'm out of that situation. I know the feeling. And this is why boundaries are so important and proper communication, because if you are just feeling worse about yourself or unloved, you know, or that relationship, you just have to know, if you're in that kind of like fight or flight instinct all the time, it's not healthy. You need to be present with your own emotions and listen to your gut. Okay? We always know. We always know when something or someone isn't right. Like we get that gut feeling or that inclination, and then we choose if we're going to ignore it or listen to it. Okay, a little story time. All right, people. For example, right? This guy I was seeing, there was a lot of red flags, folks. Okay, but nonetheless, we were very emotionally connected. Okay, talking all the time, seeing each other a lot. You know, I had met like his dad, like his closest friends. Like it was like, okay, this isn't just like, hey, bestie vibes. Like we were emotionally connected. But even during this, like I had multiple gut feelings because moments had happened in between that I was like, and I chose to ignore them because honestly, I just liked having a person to talk to, you know, and I like the relationshipy stuff. And that's when I boil it down, that's kind of what it was. I was also had left this really long committed relationship, and it felt really good to be, you know, kind of dating someone again. Um, but there was this specific time, okay? There was a few things, but there's a specific time around Halloween. All right, he had asked if he could go out with me and my cousin a few days before, and I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, like come through. This will be fun. And then, of course, after I get ready and cute, we go out. We were texting earlier that day, and boom, radio silence. Like he never showed up. He ended up going to like a different party, didn't invite us. As an outlooker, this is like obviously a jerk move. And I was so upset, and it made me feel really low about myself because all of a sudden I'm like, wait, like, did I do something? I'm really confused. What happened? Maybe I'm just, and your head starts circling like, oh, maybe I'm not pretty enough. Maybe he's seeing another girl because I'm not fun enough. Just all these things, right? And my night was completely consumed by him because I felt so bad. All for him to invite me to go out with his friends and my cousin like a few days later after Halloween to some like haunted mansion thing. We're holding hands. We're like being all coupley. So again, lack of clarity, right? A lot of confusion. I mean, the fact that I even went after he had done that little stunt, like honestly, I would never have gone. Like if that would have happened to me now, I would have literally been like, boy, bye. Like, no, but it's fine. We learn. But because even when we even had like a moment when we were at this whole haunted house thing, and I like brought it up and I was like, hey, like what even happened that night? Like, that's kind of messed up. Like I was waiting for you, just totally ghosted me. And it ended up being this kind of miniature fight. And it was turned on me that I wasn't really being understanding of his busy schedule. And obviously he wants to see me and hang out with me. And that's why he even asked me out to hang out with him that night. And so, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, this is my bad. Like, maybe I was like reading into it. Like, girl, no. Like, y'all made plans and he didn't show and ghosted you and then went somewhere else. Like, that's just unkind and rude. So, but then, I understand it can be hard because when the head games start happening, it can make you confused. But that's the thing. Head games are the biggest red flag. If someone starts making you feel bad or villainizing you because of their own hurtful actions or poor communication, this is not healthy. Okay? Just like in any relationship, there are warning signs in situationships. How they talk to you, how they show up for you, do their actions match their words, and even honestly, high key, how they talk about their exes. How do they behave? Like, even like, look, no one's perfect, but how you talk about your ex and then also your own stuff, right? Like the things that you did. And that tells you a lot about like, okay, did they actually heal from that relationship? Did they do the introspection off of the things that happened to them? Like, how do they behave when they're around their friends or when you're out? And for me, the person I was seeing, he was a really heavy drinker. Okay. And this is no hate. Like it's a very intense subject and I understand. I really do. And we can get into a deeper conversation on another episode about that. But ultimately, it wasn't viable for me to be with them because they weren't interested in taking care of themselves long term. And for me, self-care and living life in a way that is still fun, don't get me wrong, but not to a point where it's putting me or the others in others in harm's way. And truthfully, these red flags are giving you the opportunity to reevaluate so that you can clearly, see and truly just move on to something much more worth your time and just overall so much more fulfilling because you deserve it, right? Like you deserve to be respected and loved. Now, if you're in a situationship, okay, I'm not trying to dampen on your parade or anything like that, okay? If you're in a situationship and you want to shift from that to a more committed partnership, you've got to communicate that. You got to be honest. And let me tell you, I'm just going to be straight to the point. There's no right way to have this conversation. It's really a yes or no kind of thing. And having the fear that you asking about this will be the thing that crumbles a relationship already kind of tells me everything I need to know. You know, it's not looking so hot, you know, specifically if you've been actively dating this person for a few months now. Like, this isn't freshly 4 days in and you're like, what are we? You know, you are 100% like, you're okay to do this kind of thing. You've been dating them a minute now, right? And the way they react will tell you everything you need to know. And if it doesn't go your way, you have a decision, right? We all have choice. You can accept it and stay in that holding pattern, or leave and end up connecting with someone who would like to also be in a committed relationship. But you cannot get that committed relationship if you are stuck in that holding pattern. You know, your person that's like, where are you at? Is like never going to get that access or that time or that moment with you because you're stuck in a holding pattern. Look, as we close things up, every situationship has its own unique journey, okay? And I think it will ultimately teach you a lot about yourself and what it is that you're actually looking for. It did for me, 100%. You can grow a ton and learn how to get through a lot of communication barriers, a lot of different fears. You know, for me personally, I learned what I just will and will not tolerate. I learned my worth, who I am as a person. I learned what my absolute set standards are. Like I said, not everyone gets access to me or the chance to date me. You have to be a specific person. That's it, you know, and that's just how it is. After that situationship, I decided what I will and will not accept, period. I thrive off of consistency, good communication, and honesty. I'm at the point in my life, folks, where I'm experiencing new financial gain. I'm looking towards buying a home, entering into new heights of my career, and really thinking about having a family. And so for those reasons, I'm out. Okay. But seriously, because, you know, because of those things, I am only interested in being with people that lead me to those things or can join me to those things and uplift me, inspire me, contribute to me feeling physically and mentally well, period. Anyone else, I can't even, like, literally, I can't even fathom ever crossing paths with anyone else. I don't. Like, this even goes for friendships too. Like, I am so focused and I know exactly what I want to do and where I'm going because of the things I've gone through in the past or the people I've dated or been friends with in the past, that I'm like, okay, I know more about myself. And it's no shade on those people because everyone goes through their seasons. I went through my season. Go back to the my first episode on manifesting and how I used to live my life. It was a very different tone. And so much stuff had happened that I was like, okay, pump the brakes. We are switching it up, you know? And that's just kind of what has to happen. So I used to live a very different life and around different kind of people and doing different kind of stuff. And I wasn't happy there. And I know that I'm so much more happy and in my peace. And I much rather have time alone invested in me and my work and whatever it is that I want to do than giving so much of that energy to someone else that is just overall not fulfilling. It's not fulfilling, you know? So whether you're currently in a situationship, which is all good, all fine, if you can do it healthy, or just intrigued by the concept, please remember that a healthy dating life is all about self-awareness, effective communication, and maintaining your self-respect. Please. And with that, I will leave you with the theory of the week, which is embrace your worth even in the midst of situationships. The love you give yourself is the foundation for the love you deserve. Oh my gosh, how yummy is that? I have to read it again. Embrace your worth. Even in the midst of situationships, the love you give yourself is the foundation for the love you deserve. I mean, like, slay, honestly. Okay, thank you guys for listening to another episode of Talk Theory. I hope you enjoyed this. I love you guys so much, and I just want you to feel good about yourselves and be happy with who you are and get excited. And I really hope this helps. If you like this episode, please don't forget to give me a nice little, I don't know, like give me a star rating, review something, share with your friends and family, spread the love. It really does help, and it means a ton when you guys DM me about these episodes or share them with friends, and it means a lot. Okay, I shall see you next week. Okay, love you. Bye.